Okay, hey you guys, I just wanted to go through and show you for a second when you're ready to start adding your color to your cityscape. I thought it would be a little bit easier to kind of demo for you in my layers some examples of how to go in and add that color, because it's very important that we make the outline layer for this a reference. That way we're gonna put all of our coloring underneath. And I have one layer of color on here right now, but when I start demoing and showing you some different examples, I might have 4 or 5 different layers of color depending upon if I'm gonna put alpha lock on and do some shading. This layer that I have above up here, this is just, you know, a reminder kind of layer that here's my vanishing point, you know, here's all my vertical lines that I need to make sure are going towards that vanishing point. And then here's my horizon line, which we know is going to separate the sky from the ground. So right here, what I've got set up, I've got my reference turned on. I'm just going to turn that off for right now for demoing. And let's go in and kind of throw some different color pieces. So for example, I've got this mural type of setup on the side of the building. This is a good area where it doesn't really matter if all of this color goes on the same layer because you know, I'm not gonna really turn on alpha lock and do any kind of shading or maybe do any kind of putting a special kind of like textured brush on this. See, I'm just filling it in these different colors using shades and tints. So that's an example if I just wanted to kind of keep everything on that same color layer. Now, for instance, let's say for my sky, what I would like to do is add a new layer. And you know, I can always go in and rename this sky. And I'm gonna go pick a blue out of here and make it this, you know, type of lighter kind of blue. But think about this, if you want it to be maybe a night sky, maybe you're wanting it to be a little bit darker, so maybe it's a gray. You know, it doesn't have to just be something traditional like a blue sky. If you've got anything in the upper part of the horizon line, so anything that sits above the horizon line, if you've got areas like that, make sure you're going in and filling those pieces. But now that I've got this sky color on its own layer, a fun thing I could do is turn alpha lock on. So there's my checkerboard, so nothing's behind that. Go over to my brushes and go turn on my airbrush from my soft brush, and then, you know, darken it a little bit. And I could kind of start having this shaded ombre type of sky on here. And so I just, you know, added a little bit of that dark. I'll go do a little bit more right above it, just like that. And I'll keep going in, adding a little bit more. And so now that I've kind of got this progression going on, I could even go use my smudge tool, and let's go in there and kind of smooth some of those pieces out. Now this would also work if I wanted to do, you know, like a multicolor, not just one color with different shades on there. But let's say, for instance, I'll turn this one off real quick and add a new one. Let's try it out if we start off with a yellow kind of color. And then for my airbrushing on here, let's go turn alpha lock on. And so with my airbrush, let's go make it a little bit more of the orange. So this is gonna look a little bit more of maybe like a sunrise. And then we could go into a little bit more. And like lastly, we could even do like a pink or a red kind of setup at the top. And then once I've got all of that, just go back in with my smudge and just kind of blend those together a little bit. And you know, if you bump your opacity up on your smudge, you know, you're gonna get it a little bit smoother on there for that transition. So that's another idea, just to kind of keep those layers separate. I can achieve things like that. So when I go turn my guidelines off, if I just want to go check what that's starting to look like, I'm getting that nice type of effect on there. Now another idea is, let's say for my road, maybe or even my grass or anything like that, if I go make a brand new layer, and let's say for my road, I'm gonna kind of have this darker type of color right there. If I go turn this on alpha lock as well, I could go experiment and go find like a texture for my road to make it look a little bit more like a street. Let's try one of these charcoals on there and see how that turns out. And I'm just gonna bump my brush up some. So see, I'm putting that texture in that one spot, so that way I'm able to turn alpha lock on, and it's only gonna go into this area. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do that for every single color, but that gives you a little bit more of a variety so you can edit your coloring and your layers better.